Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you've been waiting for Nikon to make a serious splash in the mirrorless market, your wait might just be over. Today, we're taking a deep, unfiltered dive into everything we know so far, and everything we hope about the Nikon Z7 III. This isn't just another camera. This could be the device that defines Nikon's future in the high-end mirrorless space. A camera that builds upon the legacy of the Z7 and Z7 II, while stepping boldly into a new era with next-gen video, photography, and AI-powered features. But here's the twist. There are still a lot of unknowns. Nikon has been tight-lipped, but that hasn't stopped leakers, insiders, and camera fanatics from putting together a picture of what we might get. From a potential 90mm sensor to 8K 60 video, dual card slots, and even a completely reworked autofocus system, the Nikon Z7 III is shaping up to be a beast, at least on paper. So grab your coffee, sit back, and let's explore everything. The confirmed facts, the credible rumors, what they could mean for real-world shooting, and whether this camera is worth waiting for in 2025. The Z7 series legacy. Why this upgrade matters. Before we dive into the Z7 III itself, let's rewind a little. Nikon's Z7 lineup has always been aimed at professionals who value resolution, detail, and dynamic range above all else. The original Z7 dropped in 2018 with a 45.7mm sensor, and while it was Nikon's first step into the mirrorless world, it was met with mixed reviews. People loved the image quality, but the single card slot and first-gen autofocus were points of frustration. Then came the Z7 II, and Nikon addressed a lot of that criticism. Dual card slots, improved processing with dual X-Speed 6 processors, better low-light autofocus, and refined ergonomics made it a far more complete camera. It became a go-to for landscape, studio, and fine art shooters. But it was still conservative, safe. It didn't push boundaries the way the Canon R5 or Sony A7R5 did. Now, with the Z7 III, Nikon has a real chance to shake things up, and the early signs suggest they're ready to do exactly that. Sensor tech, the 90.7 leap. Let's start with what could be the Z7 III's headline feature, the rumored 90.7 megapixel full frame sensor. This would nearly double the resolution of its predecessor. That's absolutely wild. If true, we're not just talking about a slight upgrade. This would be Nikon's answer to medium format territory. The benefits? Insane levels of detail, more flexibility for cropping in post, and a new standard for large format prints. Commercial photographers, especially those shooting products, architecture, or fashion, would absolutely benefit from this jump. But it's not just about resolution. It's about the kind of sensor Nikon might use. Sources suggest it will be a BSI, backside illuminated sensor, designed for better low-light performance despite the pixel density. There's also talk of stacked sensor architecture, which could mean faster readout speeds, reduced rolling shutter, and improved burst shooting performance. That's critical for making a high-resolution camera usable for action or wildlife, areas where the Z7 II occasionally struggled. And with such a powerful sensor, Nikon would need to implement a new level of processing power, which brings us to the heart of the system. Processing, X-Speed 7 or something new. The X-Speed 6 dual-chip setup in the Z7 II was solid, but to push 90-plus megapixels and 8K 60 video, we're likely looking at either a dual X-Speed 7 setup or an entirely new processor line. Why does this matter? First, for burst speeds. Right now, the Z7 II tops out at 10 frames per second. But with that many megapixels, most cameras slow down dramatically. A new processor could allow the Z7 III to maintain faster bursts, even at full resolution. Think 12-15 FPS RAW at 90mm, and even faster if you're using a lower res mode. Second, for rolling shutter and buffer speeds. If Nikon truly wants to compete with Sony's stacked sensors or Canon's Digic X-powered bodies, then high-speed processing is non-negotiable. And lastly, and most importantly for hybrid shooters, you need serious processing horsepower to support internal 8K 60 10-bit video, advanced color science, and real-time AI-powered autofocus. Video features. a real threat to Sony and Canon. Now let's talk about what could turn the Z7 III from a stills powerhouse into a true hybrid creator's dream. The big rumor? 8K video. At 60 frames per second. That's not a small claim. Right now, only a handful of cameras can do 8K 60, and most of them come with caveats. Heat, huge file sizes, cropped sensors. Nikon could set itself apart by offering internal 8K 60 10-bit RAW recording with no crop, and potentially ProRes or NRAW support. In addition to that, we're expecting 4K 120 with no crop, giving creators buttery slow-motion footage without sacrificing resolution. For filmmakers, wedding videographers, YouTubers, or commercial directors, this would be huge. You could shoot a cinematic slow-mo B-roll in 4K 120, or future-proof your projects in full 8K. If Nikon manages to control thermal performance, with maybe a vented body like the Canon R5C, or even passive cooling, this could put them ahead of the game. And let's not forget audio, with likely support for 24-bit internal audio recording, headphone and mic jacks, and maybe even digital XLR input through the hot shoe. The Z7 III could be ready for real production workflows. Autofocus. Next-level AI tracking. Another big upgrade being teased is autofocus. The Z7 II had decent autofocus, but it wasn't quite in the same league as Sony's real-time tracking or Canon's dual pixel 2. With the Z7 III, Nikon is expected to bring over the autofocus engine from the Z9 and Z8. This means AI-powered, subject detection, real-time 3D tracking, and deep learning models trained to recognize faces, eyes, human and animal, vehicles, and more in both stills and video. Expect it to work across the entire frame, even in low light and even at high frame rates like 4K 120. This kind of focus system is what pros expect now. It's no longer a nice-to-have, and it's essential, especially when you're shooting.
Focus şirketi encykliken software could be code comes clearing den nislicho bovis that obviously plays should be handheld.
Nikon already offers 5-axis IBIS on the Z7 II, but the Z7 III might bring that up to 8 stops of stabilization, matching or beating what Canon and Olympus currently offer. That's especially important with such a high-resolution sensor. Even the tiniest camera shake can ruin a 90mm image. With 8 stops of IBIS, you could realistically shoot sharp handheld exposures at 1/8 of a second, maybe even slower. That's game-changing for night photography, interiors, travel, or handheld video. Ergonomics are rumored to get subtle upgrades too, including a slightly deeper grip, better heat dissipation, and maybe even a full articulating screen. Something Z7 and Z7 II users have been asking for forever. For vloggers and filmmakers, that screen alone could justify the upgrade. Battery, connectivity, and media. Nikon will likely stick with the tried-and-true NL15C battery, which is USB-C, chargeable. But better power efficiency and processing might squeeze more shots and video time out of it. On the storage side, expect dual card slots, likely one CF Express Type B and one UHS-2 SD. That gives creators flexibility and redundancy, fast. Cards for 8K and burst RAW, and more affordable SD for backups or proxies. Connectivity-wise, we're expecting full support for Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2, live streaming directly from camera, and possibly even tethered 4K recording through USB-C, perfect for studio work or live stream production. Expected price and release date, so how much will it cost? Current rumors suggest around $3,499 to $3,699, which makes sense for the features Nikon is targeting. That puts it above the Z7 II, but still below the Z9, giving serious shooters a powerful alternative without going all the way to flagship level. As for release timing, all signs point to a Q4 2025 launch, possibly just before the holiday season. That gives Nikon time to refine the hardware and nail the firmware, and gives you time to start saving. Closing thoughts. Should you wait? If you already own a Z7 II, Is it worth the upgrade? That depends. If you need better video, significantly, higher resolution and faster autofocus, then yes, absolutely. But if you're mostly doing stills and you're happy with 45mm, maybe wait and see if the price drops on the Z7 III later. For new buyers though, this could be the mirrorless camera to beat in 2025. Nikon is no longer playing catch-up. They're aiming to lead. Outrow CTA. So, what do you think about the Nikon Z7 III? Are you hyped for that 90mm sensor? Does 8K 60 video matter to you? Or is solid 4K enough? Let's have a real chat in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, drop a like, hit subscribe, and tap that bell so you don't miss the official Z7 III announcement video when it drops. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.